basically one of the best examples we ever see that like why God's not mad at you when you think he should be. Sometimes we'll think that our actions can push us away from the Lord, but really what they do is they push us away from our idea to be able to get close to the Lord. So if you are living in shame, if you're living in some decisions that you shouldn't, that you don't want to make, that you shouldn't be making, you kind of know you shouldn't be making them. One of the things that'll happen is you'll begin to step away and you'll begin to pull yourself away from the Lord. God never moves. God never walks away from you. Like he never runs away from you. He never says, bro, you're jacked up. Call me when you're better. He never does that. He's never done that. One of the best examples we'll see is I got it right here in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, like we see Mary, right? She's caught in the act of adultery. So I don't know if you understand what that means. So back in biblical time, like when a woman was caught in the act of adultery, she was immediately stoned, right? That means she was caught butt naked, getting after it. Here we go, right? The guy was there too, by the way, just FYI, the guy was there. Whoever the guy was, they just let that dude go. The woman, not so much. So the woman was caught in the act of adultery. She was caught in the middle of doing something, and she was brought to Jesus. And they did this in order to try and confuse him, right? They did it to trip him out. One of the things that they were trying to do at this time is get him to go against his word. He's like, hey, if we can get Jesus on our side, if he agrees with us, then hey, we're good. The thing is he was counterculture at the time. He was counter legalism at the time. And legalism is different than religion. You'll hear those two words interchange sometimes. And unfortunately, I think that's an error. So religion is just the seeking of God. Legalism is I have to do right in order to be right. And God says you are right because you were created right. There's a completely different mindset there. So in John 8, you see Mary's brought before the Lord, brought before all the people, the Sadducees and all that were there. And said, Master, this lady was caught in an act of adultery. Moses said we should stone her. And Jesus like, yeah, Moses did say that. But also, whoever's without sin, y'all go ahead and cast the first stone. So one of the things that happens is our teaching stops there. The one thing that doesn't happen is we don't understand, why did Jesus deal with Mary so softly? So you got to understand, so Mary being caught in the act of adultery, more than likely this wasn't her first encounter, right? It's more than likely she had been in adultery before. That was just the way she made her living. Maybe that was the way she took care of herself. That was what she had, right? Because back then women were essentially property, man. Like if a woman couldn't own stuff, a woman couldn't have certain jobs, a woman couldn't have certain rights, all kinds of crazy stuff. So you have to be kind and understand that Jesus is talking to a woman who her entire life, she'd been beat on, she'd been hollered at, she'd been called a whore, she'd been made fun of, she had been looked at crazy because everybody in the camp kind of sort of knew what she was doing, right? She's not the only one doing it. This is just the example. So whenever Jesus looks down at Mary and says, your accusers are no longer here. Like nobody's here to accuse you. Go and sin no more. He didn't look at her and say, hey, don't go commit adultery again. Hey, don't, you're nasty, don't do it. He didn't say none of that. So one of the things that happens is when we think God's mad at us is when we're caught in the thing that we kind of are ashamed of or that we know that we maybe shouldn't be doing. We listen to the people around us and you'll get that, I can't believe that they did that. I can't believe Mary was caught in adultery. Are you serious? Oh my, like, bro, hold on. She's a person. She's a human. Why can you not believe she would mess up? Why can you not believe that she would make a mistake? Why can you not believe that she was trying to figure out how to do her life and made a bad decision while she was doing it? Doesn't mean she's a piece of crap person. It means she made a bad choice. So how many of us would like to be judged for the worst thing we've ever done? That sucks, bro. So one of the things we have to understand is God's not mad at you. Jesus looked at this woman who was caught in the act of adultery, which was a known sin, right? It was a known, hey, don't do this, right? And he looked at her with compassion and said, Mary, there's nobody here anymore to condemn you. I don't condemn you either. Go and sin no more. Didn't look at her disgusted. Didn't say, oh, you wretched piece of crap. He didn't. None of that, man. Looked at her with compassion because he knew that if he would have spoke to her that way, he would be just like every other man in her life. So Jesus knew that if he would have spoke to Mary and said, you're disgusting, you shouldn't be doing this. Hey, I can't believe you. There's got to be another way. He didn't do any of that because he knew that she had for her entire life heard that she was a piece of crap, that she was a whore, that she was trash, that she was nothing. So instead of him doing that, he pulled her out of it. It's two different concepts. See, when Jesus goes and meets the woman at the well, if you're not familiar with that story, so Jesus goes He meets this lady at the well, and you know the story about, hey, you know, can I have some water? Are you thirsty? Let me get some water. Well, if you knew who I was, you'd ask me for water, right? All right. Well, that's crazy, and all that's good. That's where a lot of people stop. The thing with it is, this woman, he said, hey, go get your husband. She's like, I don't have a husband. He's like, yeah, I know you got 5 of them jokers. You know, you've had 5 husbands, and the guy you with now, he ain't your husband either. Why did he speak to her in a different way? He used a different language with her than he did with Mary. 2 really similar situations. Maybe she wasn't caught in adultery, but she was living in it. You know what I mean? 2 completely similar situations, but at the same time, he talked to them night and day different. Night and day different. So one of the things he took to her is he was abrupt with her. He was like, hey, no, you're right. You don't have a husband. You've had 5 husbands. The dude you're with right now, he ain't your husband either. What's going on? She was wrecked. Like, oh, like you are something different than I've ever been around. You know, the thing with this woman is she was used to getting her way. She was used to being able to get away with it. She was used to being able to use her looks, her sexuality, her whatever in order to talk and get the men to agree with her, to just go along to get along. She was probably hot at the time, you know what I mean? All of the things. So she used what she had to get where she could get. I'm inferring that. That's not biblical, but I'm just giving you a thought. And the reason I'm thinking that is because when Jesus challenged her, she was stunned. It ain't like she'd been challenged a whole lot before. You know what I'm saying? She was stunned. So you see one instance to where Jesus had got Mary, who's caught in the middle of adultery, and is just compassionate. And that compassion pulls her out of that act, of that lifestyle, of that mentality. And then you have the woman at the well. He was a little more stern. I was like, no, hold on. You are doing some things you ain't supposed to be doing. I know you're doing it. You know you're doing it. Stop doing it. He was a little more direct with her. Well, he used compassion and kindness and politeness with one. He used direct authority and assertiveness with the other, because he knew that if I speak to her the same way I spoke to the other lady, she's not going to get it. See, Jesus meets us where we are. He's not mad at us. He's not angry with us. He wasn't mad at the woman had 5 husbands. See, the thing with it is he knows that the fullness of life that he has planned for us, that God has planned for us, can't be achieved if we're living below the privileges that he's created us to walk in. So it's not even that he's mad at us. He wants the best for us. He wants the best for us. Now the best for us may not be Maseratis and, penthouses. You know what I mean? That may not be the best for you. Maybe what you want, but it may not be the best for you. The reality of it is he wants the best for you. He wants the fullness that he created you to walk in. He's not mad at you. He's not upset. He's not angry with you. There's another account we're going to get into. It's Luke 19, chapter 19, 1 and 10. Zacchaeus. Y'all probably heard of Zacchaeus, the wee little man, the little song. Well, Zacchaeus was a tax collector. So back in the day, man, tax collectors, you think the IRS now is bad. Tax collector then knock on your door and say, hey, give my money. And then they break something if you don't. You know what I mean? It was rough, boy. And they would steal. They steal from you. So Zacchaeus was at the time like kind of a thief, man. He was a squirrely little joker, you know what I mean? But he acknowledged the authority that Jesus had. And Jesus called him by name. He said Zacchaeus was hiding in a tree to see the Lord, And Jesus says, Zacchaeus, what's going on, man? What are you doing, bro? And Jesus went to the man's house. See, the person there at the time that everybody, even the apostles, like, bro, this guy's a tax collector. What, huh? Why are we going to eat at this dude's house, man? This dude's, he done stole everybody's stuff and all. Jesus wasn't mad at him. He knew that Zacchaeus was living a life that was below what God had called him to walk in. And in order for him to pull him out and give him the fullness and allow him to walk in the fullness of the life that God had called him to, he had to compassion with him. He had to meet with him. He had to spend time with him. And he had to forgive him. He couldn't look at him the way that everybody else looked at him, like, oh, man, I can't believe it's Zacchaeus, man. You can't look at folks like that, man. Even if your natural reaction is disgust, even if your natural reaction is anger, see, the thing that happens is we'll respond to the thing that caused somebody to be who they are instead of who they actually are. See, if you believe that you're not the sum of your entire actions, you're not the sum of all the decisions you've ever made, if you believe that in your life, you have to give other people that same grace. So when I respond in anger to you, I'm not responding in anger to you. I'm responding in anger to the thing that made me angry. May or may not have been you. What caused you to react and respond and become who you are? That's what we need to get to. That's what we need to deal with. See, God's not mad at you. Say you went through a bunch of trauma when you was a little kid, man. You been beat on, you've been moved around, you didn't have mommy, you have daddy, maybe you had all that, maybe you didn't have none of it, but it caused you to put up walls and it caused you to be really abrasive. It caused you to keep people at arm's distance. Maybe that's what caused all those things. So if I respond to you in a way that, man, that dude's a jerk, bro. What caused him to be the jerk? See, people aren't the sum of their decisions, but unfortunately, we can allow trauma to make our decisions for us whenever we don't break it off. See, whenever you go through trauma, you create filters in your heart, and those filters through your heart filter the actions and the words that you have to say. So the things that'll happen is when you think Jesus is, when you think God's mad at you, think Lord's mad at you, and you take all these names that people have called you. Maybe they call you a drunk. Maybe they call you a hypocrite. Maybe they call you angry. Why are you mad all the time? And all that stuff may be the reality of your situation today, but something happened that caused you to get there. See, what is that? What caused Mary to be caught in the act of adultery? What caused that? Was she just having a good time? Was she hungry? Was she an abused woman? Was she a widow? Man, we don't know. It didn't say none of that. What caused a woman to have 5 husbands? Was she a whore? I don't know. Was she just a gold digger? I have no clue. I don't know. Jesus didn't speak to none of that. What he spoke to was the person that was inside that was under all those decisions, because that's the real person. See, when you walk through life and you judge people by their decisions, their actions, which is very reasonable. Like, let's just be real. It's very reasonable to say, hey, the thing that you're doing is not right, and I'm gonna hold you accountable. That okay, sure. The reality of it, though, is if we hold them accountable that they're never going to be able to overcome the decision that they just made, are you able to overcome the decisions that you've made in your life? Why is it good for one, not the other? Why did Jesus meet one lady with compassion and kindness and the other person with assertiveness and abrasiveness? Then he met Zacchaeus the same way, but he met Zacchaeus almost with humor. Like, hey, Zacchaeus, you in the tree, bro. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about, man? And then you see Peter. See, Peter's on the rocks. You know what I mean? Peter, hey, you're going to be the rock I'm going to build my church on. That's great. Until they come and try and take Jesus. So I don't know if you've ever caught this story. So whenever the guards come to take Jesus, Peter draws his sword and snatches a piece of their ears off. Well, that guy's name was Malchus. All right, so it's in one of the Gospels. I don't remember which one. Sorry. But Malchus's ear gets chopped completely off. Jesus walks over, says, Peter, put your sword away. If you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. Puts the man's ear back on his head. Puts the ear back on the man's head, right? All right, so now you got 2 things that's happening. Peter has walked with the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, Son of God, walked with him for a couple years, right? Still chose violence. So when you're oppressed, what comes out? Because that violence needed to be dealt with, because had it not been dealt with there, it would have come out at a different time that Jesus wouldn't have been able to help him. It came out there so it could come to the surface so Jesus could walk him through it. That's one. Now Malchus's ear. The brother man just come to take Jesus to get him crucified. Just got a piece of ear chopped off it. Now, I don't know if you understand, like, you see an ear, see it's only that far away from your head. You know what I mean? Come on. What happens when something gets cut? Blood everywhere. Are you serious? Now I still have to take this dude that just healed my ear? I have to walk through town with all this blood on my shoulder and tell these people that this... Huh? Are you serious? Jesus wasn't mad at Malchus. Jesus wasn't mad at Peter. God wasn't mad at neither one of them. See, Malchus's ear was chopped off in order for God to provide that healing so that Malchus could go and tell his family what happened. See, God understands that we're humans. He kind of created us. He kind of made us. He understood human nature. See, for love to exist, there has to be a choice. True love can't exist without a choice. God loves us enough to allow us to walk away from him and still chase us. It's all through Scripture, man. Like, if you want to have the debate about the hellfire and all that stuff, I'll go in with you. Well, that's for another podcast, but I'll go in with you. It'll be fun. Because I want to show you some things that God never hated a people. He hated a people's actions. And hate in the Old Testament meant to oppose greatly. It didn't mean that I hate you with disgust. It means that I oppose your actions. I oppose what you're doing. In Revelation, when Jesus says, and I also hate that, I don't hate people. I don't hate a person. I hate the actions, because I realize those actions are keeping them from me. And all I want with them is to spend time with them. All I want is the intimacy with them. God's not mad at you. You don't know what I've done. You ever cut a man's ear off his head? You ever been caught in the middle of adultery? You ever had 5 husbands and lied to the guy that you was with to get another husband? You ever done? Maybe you have. Crap, that sucks. I hate that for you because something caused you to get there. What caused that woman to get 5 husbands to have that? Was she so dysfunctional? Was she just a cheater? Was she a gold chaser? What caused that woman to have to do that? And it's so easy to blame the person because we're responsible for our own actions. We're accountable for our own actions. 100% agree with that. Cannot debate it. The problem with it is as you grow up, things happen to you that you create rules in your life that you begin to live by, and you don't even know that you're living by. And it's formed off of trauma. It's formed off of the bad things that happen. It's formed off the good things that happen. Unfortunately, the bad tends to have more impact than the good. So that person at work that you can't stand being around because they're arrogant, because they're a jerk, because they're whatever, the most arrogant people in the world are the most insecure people that you'll ever meet in your life. They're just really good at hiding it. So when you're dealing with that arrogant jerk that keeps saying, whatever, I'm bragging, all the things, right? You're dealing with that arrogant person. You need to understand that under that person is somebody that's been hurt deeply and thinks so low of themselves they can't even breathe hardly at night. They have to put that facade on. They have to fake that thing in order to live and get through life. When you deal with a person that's eat up with anger that responds to you in every way, you get cut off in traffic, they flip the finger, they try and all that stuff. They're living at a point of anger that's so heightened that they don't know what life is without it. See, when you deal with somebody that's eat up with anger, only normal that they know is one that's heightened. It's elevated. I got to be mad all the time. See, I dealt with depression, stress, and anxiety for a lot of my life, and I didn't understand that my nervous system was freaking jacked up. I had to find stuff to stress about to feel normal. Like if I wasn't under a certain amount of pressure, stress, or anxiety, I didn't feel normal. It felt weird, and it's like, well, everything's good. I know something's wrong. You know what's going on, right? It was real. Man, it was so real for me, bro. But the reality of it is I learned to live a way that I was never called to live, and it became my normal. That sucks. That sucks. And it was hard. God, it was hard. So Mary, the one that was caught in the middle of adultery, that was her normal. That was his normal life. That's Thursday at 2:00. Sure, yeah, I'll meet you out there. You know what I mean? Like, we can't understand that. That was normal for her. And then to have a group of men tell the guy that she was banging to leave and say, hey, you got to come with us because we got to stone you because you're messed up. He's fine. You're jacked up. Huh? What? Okay, sure. Let's take him to Jesus, man. Jesus going, yeesh. Yeah, whoever's without sin, let's cast the first stone. And in that same in the accounting, Jesus begins to write on the ground. We don't know what he wrote on the ground, a lot of speculation, whatever. He begins to write on the ground, but then you start to see the old people walk away. It's like, and they begin to leave with the oldest first. I can't remember the exact term, you know. And a lot of people think he began to write sin. A lot of people think he began to write laws. A lot of people think he began to write out their sins, the thing that they had done. I don't think it's that, because I don't know that he wanted to condemn them. I think maybe, just maybe, he wanted to write something that was for her, right? That it was responsive for her. So, hold on one second. Oh, sorry. I heard the door open. Got me distracted. I got the ADD, man. Caught up. So, but I believe he was writing something about her that they didn't know. I believe he was letting them in on a secret about her, that she's my daughter. I love her. You're not going to stone her. I love her. And it was the older men that understood the compassion. It was the older men that understood the depth of the love that God had for that young lady, even though she was caught in the middle of adultery, even though she was caught in the middle of something that she shouldn't have been doing, but she felt forced to. And then you got the woman at the well. She became the biggest prophet of the time, the biggest evangelist at the time, because she went and told everybody. She went and told everybody what the man had done, about what Jesus had done. And why? Because she had never met somebody that challenged her. And then we see Peter slices Malchus's ear off. Gone. Jesus says, bro, stop it. You've been with me for 3 years. You're going to live by the sword. You're going to die by it, man. Stop, bro. Puts the man's ear back on. The man still has to take Jesus away, by the way. Jacked up. But he got saved that night for sure. But then you see Peter. And now you see Peter he was just valiant and brave. And then you see Peter deny Jesus time after time after time, right? We know it. Before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. No, man, I'm dying. I got you. Oh, crap, my bad. I was wrong. You know what I mean? Let me just go back to fishing. So now you see Jesus getting carried away and doing his thing, and Peter goes back to fishing because that's what he knew. He didn't know nothing else. He knew how to fish. He thought he had screwed up the whole thing, right? So he's out there fishing. Jesus comes up back from the dead. He raises and he comes back and he says, hey, you love me? And Peter's like, yeah. Yeah, matter of fact, yeah, I do, you know. Jesus wasn't mad at Peter. Jesus understood that Peter had to go through what he had to go through in order to walk in what he was supposed to walk into. So how many of that's us, man? How many of that's you? How many of you went through life thinking that God is so angry and upset and mad at you? See, a lot of times we'll confuse God's silence for his absence. God's never absent. Never absent. And you say, well, if God's real, why does this happen? Because life sucks sometimes. That's why stuff happens. That's why bad stuff happens. If you've never heard a preacher, pastor, minister, whatever say this, life sucks sometimes. It just does. It rains on the just and the unjust. And that sounds like a super sweet, cute... No, you don't understand. The just and the unjust both go bankrupt. Both just and the unjust both get cheated on. Just and the unjust both have abuse. So just and the unjust both suffer loss and grief. We don't understand because we read it in this book as this cute little fairy tale. It's the reality of life. It's eternal differences, man. Sometimes life freaking sucks. Don't mean God's mad at you. One of the stupidest things I've ever heard is a pastor come up, somebody's asking for counsel, wisdom. Hey, this is happening. Well, it's like Job, man. All of Job's buddies said, what'd you do to tick the Lord off? You done something to tick the Lord off because he done killed your family, you cows, you friggin' goats, everything gone, man. What'd you do to tick the Lord off? And Job's like, man, I've done nothing. What do you mean I ain't done nothing? That's an interesting story. We ain't gonna get into that tonight, but like, how many of us have walked through life thinking that God's angry with us because sometimes situations suck? Can we just be honest with ourselves? And sometimes those situations suck because we make bad choices. Sometimes those situations suck because we make stupid decisions. Sometimes situations suck because we hang out with the wrong people at the wrong time and get caught up in the wrong stuff. Can we not be honest about that? That's not God's fault. It's yours. Let's just be real. Doesn't mean he's any further away from you than he was to start with. In the story of the prodigal, I don't know if you ever read it, but in the story of the prodigal, it says, when God and the father saw the son from a long distance and began to walk up as he was walking up the drive, the path, I guess, whatever. And it says, and the father ran to him. The second you turn to the Lord, he runs to you. The second you turn to him. And it may not all be fuzzy rainbows and unicorns, but he runs to you. His hand of protection's over you. See, the Father did 3 things that I think is so powerful if we can accept it and acknowledge it and want to understand it. The Father put on the ring, which is the authority. He put on the coat, which was the covering. He put on the sandals, which is the path. So the son who had just blown all his crap, right? Blew all his inheritance, been in the pigs, man, just partying, whatever, doing his thing. Sure, all right. The Father immediately gives him his coat. He covers him. Son, you're covered, man. Anybody got a problem with you? They got a problem with me now. Here's my ring. The ring at that time had a signal on it. It was an authority. So that means I could stamp it and say, hey, I want 20 bags of grain. I don't know. Here, boom. That's my daddy's name. Just charge it. You know what I mean? Then he put sandals on him and said, now you can walk the way I walk. You can walk the path that I walk because I'm going to knock a path for you. So why did Jesus not get angry with Mary whenever she was caught in the middle of adultery? See, he understood that what she was doing did not equal who she was. What she had done did not equal who she was. See, we're not the sum of all of our bad decisions. God's not mad at you. We're not the sum of all of our bad choices. God's not mad at you. You can be mad at you. And the problem with you being mad at you is you think that everybody around you is mad at you. The problem with you being disappointed in you is you think everybody around you is disappointed in you. The problem with you doing something wrong, stupid, foolish, or dumb, whatever, is that you think everybody around you knows what it was. The problem with that secret thing that you hide and you tuck away, you don't want nobody to know about, you think everybody around you knows about it. So you act that way, you respond that way, and you keep people at a distance. God's not mad at you. He's not angry with you. God's not frustrated with you. Frustration is the manifestation of you not getting your own way. It's selfishness. It's saying you didn't respond, react, or do the thing that I thought you should do, say, or act, so I'm now mad at that. Frustration is a very unhealthy habit to get into. I discovered it a lot with my kids. Let me put it that way. I've got 5 kids, man, and frustration is, why did you not do what I asked you to, another story. God's not frustrated with you. He's not mad at you. I don't care who you are. And you say, how can God forgive somebody that would kill somebody? He does. How can God be okay? How can God forgive people that do horrendous, horrible things? See, they're still his kids. He doesn't like what they do. See, the thing that we don't understand in this culture is you don't have to come into agreement with somebody's lifestyle, decisions, or choices in order to walk with them and love them. You don't have to come into agreement with how somebody lives in order to walk with them. You don't have to come into an agreement with somebody's decision in order to help them out of the decision that they just made that you don't agree with. In order for them to be the thing that you want them to be, it's called love with a hook in it. It means I will love you if you look, act, or respond the way that I think you should, and it's wrong. That's not how God loves. It's not how God loves. That's not how God handles life, man. That's not how God handles his children. See, the thing with it, the people that are in the chat, man, there's a couple goofy folks, man, in the chat, whatever. The thing with it is, like, even though you're making fun of, making light of, whatever, the truth is that at some point somebody modeled the gospel for you in an incorrect way, and it made you put up walls thinking, oh, this is crap because I don't want to be a part of anything that looks like that, acts like that, or produces this. The problem with that is if it produced that in everybody, I wouldn't want a part of it either. See, I know the Word, I know the Bible, I know the Quran, I know a lot about the Hindu, I know a lot of the things about religion as a whole because I studied them, because I wanted to know that what I was following was the truth. And there's no power in Muhammad, there's no power in any of the Hindu gods, there's no power in any of those. See, I've seen healings in the name of Jesus, I've seen deliverances and salvations in the name of Jesus, and that in my life is a real experience that you'll never be able to take away from me. See, I don't follow a book. That's the difference. See, the Bible is an accounting, is a history of the story of religion, or is a story of Christianity. It's a recounting. It's a historical document that's full of principles of life and abundance of wisdom that you just can't even get. And if you begin to look at it that way, you'll understand. The problem is there's people out there way smarter than me. Man, there's people out there that make me look stupid. I'm okay with that. And the difference is you don't have the experience that I have. So you've not seen God heal somebody miraculously. You've not seen God heal your daughter because she was dying on the hospital bed. You've not seen that for me. I saw that. So you've not seen somebody miraculously stop having seizures that they'd been having them for 20 years when they were prayed for. See, I've seen that. So you've not seen somebody on the brink of addiction that were about to kill themselves get taken back and healed and whole and made whole with their family, made whole in a place that they never understood, get their kids back, get their family back. See, I've seen that. God's not mad at you. He's not angry with you. Even those that mock him and make fun of him, he hurts for them. Because he understands that if they would just turn to him, they can have the fullness of who he is. They can have his covering. See, God's presence never leaves any of us. We think it does, it never does. God's presence is always with us, always around us. The problem is the access that you give him and the covering that he allows you to have is only accessible once you accept it. It's something that you have to accept. He's just not going to throw it at you. Don't cast your pearls before the swine. That means don't cast things of importance, of value before people that can't steward it and take care of it. See, whenever you ask God to come into your life and begin to become real for you, I would encourage you, pray the prayer that says, God, I don't know if you're real. I think you might be. I just heard some guy online say some crazy stuff I've never seen or experienced. Can you give me an experience with you that's undeniable? See, that's a prayer that will change things. That's a prayer that will shift things. That's a prayer that will change your life. That's a prayer that will change your eternity, your family's eternity. That's a prayer that, man, I could tell you story after story after story of miraculous things that do not make sense, don't make sense, but really happen. I'm not one of these big, like, I don't think you got to add crazy things and make stuff up to the gospel. It's not one of them fish tales. The fish gets bigger and bigger every time you tell us. It's not that, man. The reality of who God is so powerful. You don't have to add to it. God's not mad at you. He's not angry with you. He's not upset with you. I'm going to check some of the comments, see what's up. Let's see. Hardest thing for me is to reason with people whose pride is so strong that they don't listen, and to know what to stop trying and explaining when to. Okay, guys. Yeah, cool. So one of the big things that's interesting in that, one of my mentors used to tell me, if I can talk you into it, somebody else can talk you right back out of it, even if that's you. So our job is not to explain the gospel in a way that helps people understand it logically. The discipleship, the term that it's transliterated down. Transliteration essentially is like we don't have certain words for things that happened or that were spoken in like Hebrew and Greek, right? So we flatten the language and we transliterate it, which just means that we take that word and we try and make sense of it, right? The problem is the context of a word could make it mean a different thing back then. So discipleship, what it actually means is one who learns by attachment. The closest word we have to it right now would be probably like apprentice, somebody that partners with your life. So when you're explaining the gospel to somebody, the pride and the arrogance usually comes from somewhere, some kind of a hurt, some kind of a disappointment, some kind of a misrepresentation of the Lord, some kind of a church burn. Because people in the church, man, they'll get passionately wrong about something and just beat you to death with it. So the biggest thing that I would encourage, anytime I've come across people that are just, like you said, kind of prideful, kind of arrogant, like when do you kind of walk away from it? The thing with that is if God's given you that person to pray for, like if they're your one, if they're the one that you're supposed to pray for and be a part of, the consistency of your life is going to be the best testimony that you'll ever have. And trauma happens no matter what we think, right? Bad stuff happens. So the thing that I've seen be the biggest turning point in most people's life is some kind of a traumatic event, some kind of a life event, something like that. And then just consistency. People get sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? So when you've been that consistent rock in their life and you walk with them, you love them, you encourage them, even though they may laugh at you, call you stupid, hey, I don't believe in this crap. That's fine. You don't have to believe in what I believe, but I'm still going to walk with you, man. You want to go get a burger? Let's talk about the sport. Let's talk about game. I'm a UFC guy. Let's go talk about the fights, man, whatever. So when you do life with somebody, you allow them to attach their life to you. That's true, real discipleship. Because see, none of the disciples believed on Jesus till they started walking with him. That's the thing. So whenever he called every one of them, he proved himself to them before they started walking with him. Like he showed them, hey, there's something way different about this guy. But they still weren't fully convinced until later on. And you can see it when they're talking, because when they're talking amongst themselves, they're arguing, they're battling. They didn't understand that he was the Son of God. A couple of them did right at the beginning, but like that's very few and far between. The thing with it is as they began to walk with him, they saw what he had done. They saw who he was. They experienced Christ in flesh walking with him. That's the best discipleship tool you're ever going to have. That's the best evangelistic tool that you're ever going to have, is walking with people through life, man. Yeah, man. No, bro. So thank you so much for asking us a great question. Well, I think that's about it, man. Thank y'all for, I don't know who all's joined. I don't know how many people I've had. I don't even know how to read this yet. I'm so new to TikTok. I'm just learning. Really enjoyed it though. So thank you guys so much for being a part. I think you can catch the back end of this thing. Essentially we got into that God's really just, let me just end it with that. Like God's not mad at you. He's just not. It doesn't matter what you've done. He's not mad at you. You may be mad at you. People that you hurt may be mad at you. People that know the people that you hurt may be mad at you. God's not mad at you. No matter what stupid choice, bad decision, he's just not. Read the story of Mary that was caught in the middle of adultery. He wasn't mad at her. Read the story of Zacchaeus, the man that was a tax collector, stole from all the Jewish people, stole from all the people essentially. Wasn't mad at him, went and ate supper with him. He wasn't mad at the woman at the well who had 5 husbands and said she didn't have any, So like he wasn't mad at Peter whenever Peter denied him and lost. He wasn't mad at. He calls us back to himself in order to walk in the fullness of who he's created us to be. All right, guys. I hope y'all have a good night. I'm gonna end this and see how it goes.